San Francisco Sketchfest just might want to consider redubbing itself Comedy Con. Even if the venerable comedy gathering isn't on the massive scale of Comic Con, the comic book/pop culture convention, Sketchfest, which kicks off its 17th iteration today, has become its own highly idiosyncratic, inspired bundle of tributes, live music, podcasts, workshops, and performances. Much as Comic Con began as a comic book convention before evolving into a pop cultural monster, Sketchfest began as a weekend sketch comedy series before methodically building a stellar reputation as a destination for the deepest of comedy fans. This year's bill sports some of the most influential and iconic names in comedy, including Ricky Gervais in conversation with Christopher Guest of This Is Spinal Tap fame, tributes to Dick Cavett, Jane Lynch, and Louis Black, and a reunion of the cast of Animal House, with director John Landis. But SF Sketchfest has branched out even beyond the kind of sketch comedy, or even comedy, that was once the focal point of programming. Included in this year's schedule. Considering that Sketchfest started with just 6 sketch comedy troupes performing in a single 80-seat theater in 2002, the breadth of festival's programming, with nearly 250 shows in 16 venues, is stunning. In many ways, the diversification of the Sketchfest schedule parallels the diversification of comedy appetites across the country, and the numerous creative ways comedy performers reach their audience in 2018. Now that 1 million different cable channels and streaming services have taken off, there's an opportunity to have more specialized content out there that's not a network television sitcom, said David Owen, who co-founded and co-produces Sketchfest with Janet Varney and Cole Stratton. There weren't as many of those kinds of opportunities back then, and it's great for us because it means that we get to have even more variety at the festival. There are so many great performers and writers out there that every year they are reinventing what you can do in a live comedy show, adds Varney. We've just have been going along for the ride and trying to find things that are unique and new. That variety has become a beacon to comedy fans and performers alike. As a result, the likes of John Hodgman, Kevin Pollak, and Fred Willard have become annual fixtures. And word of mouth from some of the event's annual performers has led to some of Sketchfest's biggest programming gets, such as the conversation with Gervais and Guest on January 23 at the Castro Theater in San Francisco. When Gervais was dining with Pollak and Guest a couple of years ago, they touted the festival to Gervais, who was unfamiliar with the event, recalls Stratton. Guest, who had developed a friendship with Gervais and had cast him in his film For Your Consideration, ultimately offered to interview him on stage for Sketchfest. When the scheduling aligned, Gervais is also performing at the Masonic in San Francisco on January 24 and 25. It was a no-brainer for him to sign up. This sort of tribute is an honor, said Gervais, but you mustn't take yourself too seriously.